So James, we were talking last week, and it looks to me like you are prescient is the word. Um, OpenAI has announced that it is experimenting with making it easier and simpler to find, compare, and buy products on ChatGPT.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I guess what was that last week I talked about it. So,
I I
may,
think it was
maybe
last week.
maybe they were listening to my podcast. What do you
Maybe you
think?
never know. They started the rollout on April 28th.
Okay.
They gave an example. I thought it was pretty cool. What's the best espresso machine under $200 that comes close to tasting like coffee made in Italy? And
Oh
it
wow.
can
Yeah.
bring that up and,
Sure.
show it to you. I,
Yeah.
I that's pretty cool. I mean,
Yep.
because that was exactly what we were talking about with Amazon.
Yep.
You have to kind of go through things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. It also made some other improvements to Chat GTP, one of which I find kind of interesting. Um, and since everybody can't see what's on your hat, I'll say, it goes along with baseball.
Hmm.
Um, one of the new improvements is getting up-to-date live sports scores.
Okay.
Now that doesn't do a whole lot for me, but for you, maybe it does. For other people, maybe it does.
Yeah, most people that know me know that it's actually really funny. I'll use an example of Vlad Sadovsky, my friend Vlad from Nativia. He reached out to me I can't remember, it was last year I think, and I can't remember what sporting event it was. I think it was like the Stanley Cup or something. And he's like, James, I got an extra ticket, to the Stanley Cup or whatever. And I was like, Vlad, you're pitching me on the two things that I like the least, travel and sports. So yeah, I'm not exactly the sports guy.
I'm not exactly a sports fan
So
either. I think I've been to, you know, I can count on one hand how many professional sporting events I've been to.
right, right. Yeah,
But I have to admit, if somebody said the Stanley Cup, that might have been one that I might have thought about.
right,
But
right,
like you, I'm not real keen on traveling either. So,
right.
so our next one up is buy now, pay later.
Okay,
Results of a new survey from LendingTree reveals that about half of American consumers have used buy now, pay later.
okay.
What's more, half say they expect to apply for a BNPL loan within the next 6 months.
Mm,
That's up from about 42% last year. I think that's
sure.
kind of interesting,
It is. Yeah.
yeah. Some other findings and this is that I found particularly interesting from this survey is that people are using buy now, pay later for food.
Really?
Yeah, about a quarter are using it to pay for groceries. 16% said they would consider using it for food delivery or takeout, and 13% said they would consider using it for dining out. So, in other words, about 44% of consumers are either using or considering the use of BNPL for food purchases.
Mm.
I don't,
If you're listening to this podcast and you're thinking that you need to split up the cost of going out to eat over the next 6 months, I would give you a piece of advice to maybe don't go out to eat yet. Let's save up
that
some
would be
money.
my advice specifically. I mean, like,
Uh,
you
but
can't
anyway.
afford it. Going out to eat is one of those things of you can't afford it, you shouldn't be doing it.
Right. That's interesting though. Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, that just really blew my mind. And the also PayPal was the most popular.
Okay.
Okay, and then Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay all tied with
Mm.
about 38% of the share.
Have you heard anything about Apple Pay's BNPL? Are they getting any traction with that?
They have nothing that I have seen has shown them getting any traction.
I
Now,
wondered about that.
admittedly, Apple is, keeps things close to the vest, and it
Right.
is only really
Oh,
available
it's
to
very
Apple
new.
people.
It's very new though. Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
I noticed it the other day. What was I buying?
Oh, you're an Apple person, right?
Yeah. I was using something. I was buying something a little more expensive with Apple Pay. I can't remember what it was, and it like popped up on the screen even, and it said like, "Do you want to split this into 6 payments or something?" It was like, I was like, "Oh,
Huh.
That was pretty cool, actually. I thought
Oh,
that was interesting that I would imagine they're going to get some traction just by nature of kind of the numbers game of, there's a lot of people with iPhones and stuff that are paying with Apple Pay. So,
well, yeah, sure, sure. But I don't think it's gonna pop up at the restaurant.
no, I wouldn't think so. I mean, yeah, but who knows, right? Because I think for them, what's interesting is, when you think about BNPL, it's so interesting because it's like, does it really matter? Like at its core, I mean, it's really you're getting credit and you're paying it back with interest. I mean, it's
Right.
like a credit card versus BNPL, kind of six one way, half a dozen the other. I mean, I understand the technical differences, but from a consumer perspective, it's just credit to use. And so I could
Well,
see people
well,
saying,
they're using credit only if they don't pay it back in the proper periods.
oh, that's true. Right. Sure. Sure. That's true. But I'm saying it's either way, it's credit, meaning they're borrowing money that they don't have to buy
Right.
something, right?
Yeah, sure.
And so it's
Exactly.
a 0% credit card basically, right?
Right. Right.
And so it's interesting to me because I don't know, I could see Apple. I think the way Apple looks at it is it's a way for them to say, okay, I'm about to spend money using my Mastercard that I've loaded into my Apple Pay wallet,
Hmm.
right? But instead, they're going to kind of hijack that and they're going to lend me that money, right? And they're gonna, of course, in this case, they make the money off the merchant or whatever, but still, it's like the same concept.
Yeah, and it's interesting the way you put that. They are going to hijack that
Right,
transaction.
exactly. And I mean, this is about deploying capital for Apple Pay. I mean, or for Apple, like they've got so much money in the bank, hundreds of billions of dollars they have literally in cash, and so
Yeah.
I think this is a chance for them to say, hey, let's deploy our capital to get maximum return on it, and they're always looking for ways to deploy capital, and I think this is one way for them to do that.
Yeah. Sure. No. Definitely. So the big news this week, at least from my perspective, is that Mastercard has unveiled capabilities to handle stablecoins.
Really? I saw something about that, but I didn't get the chance to read it. So yeah, what's that about?
Yeah, so they're putting in place the technologies and the capabilities needed to allow consumers and businesses to make and receive payments across their network anytime, anywhere it
Mm.
has a merchant relationship.
And so let's back up a little bit here, Patty. So a stable coin. You want to give us the
Right.
definition of a stable coin here?
A stable coin is a coin that
It's
is
it's
pegged
crypto.
to fiat.
Yeah, it's crypto,
Right. It
to
is
be clear.
crypto.
Yeah, crypto
Okay,
that's
sorry.
pegged
Yeah, I should
to
have made that
fiat.
clear. Yeah, it is
Yeah,
crypto, but it's pegged to a stable asset, most notably the U.S. dollar.
right. And what's the there's a crypto what is it? There's a crypto that's called the something that's the one that's tied
U.S.
directly to.
dollar coin.
Yeah, US dollar coin. So US dollar coin is going to have the same value as it's tied to a dollar value. It doesn't
As the
fluctuate.
dollar itself, really.
Right.
Right.
And so it kind of has the advantages of crypto for these kind of international transfers and large money transfers with a low cost, et cetera, et cetera. Has all the advantages of crypto, but without the volatility.
And that's the thing that everybody's been waiting for.
It is. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and it's also partnering with the crypto exchange OKX, which actually I have to admit I'm not a crypto person
Mhm.
myself, so but apparently that's a major crypto exchange
Right.
for an OKX card, MasterCard.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So they're teaming up with payment processor Nuvei, um, fintech Circle. Let's see what else. The MetaMask, Kraken, Gemini,
Mm.
Bybit, and Crypto.com, and B- Binance. Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
Binance?
Yeah.
Um,
Or is it
Mono,
Binance? I can't remember now. That's the one
yeah.
where I watched that whole master class from the guy who started that and ran it, and then he got in some legal trouble there
He got
recently. But
into some legal trouble, yeah. And then
yeah,
I thought it was gone, but apparently not.
yeah.
Monavate and Bleep. The new functionality, key to the new functionality is a MasterCard crypto credential.
Mm,
And so it's teaming up with the processor and the fintechs so that they can, make those switches between crypto and dollars itself for the merchant because the merchant's not going to accept the crypto. The merchant's going to want their money in cash.
Right, right.
But
That's
I
actually
think it's really
it's actually
interesting that,
really it is it's really interesting to me, Patty, because it's like kind of makes it feel like are MasterCard and Visa trying to eventually become a crypto exchange? I wonder if that's kind of the end result. It kind of feels like what they're doing because ultimately the crypto exchange is saying you're giving us this value in crypto, we'll convert it to fiat. And it
right.
kind of seems like that's what MasterCard is doing here. I mean, it sounds like they're also partnering with OKX, but
Yeah.
that's interesting.
No, it sounds to me that that's what they're doing also is that they're using the network. And let's
Mhm.
face it, they have a pretty extensive, pretty
Yeah,
high-tech network that they should be able to do that as long as they put in the proper um, safeguards,
right, sure. Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
Um,
Interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then one final note, which I just thought was really interesting, is regulation could upend the Cap One Discover deal, although I doubt it will. But
Mm,
here was something that came out after the big news
right.
of, and that is that the FDIC and the Federal Reserve are taking Discover to task for overcharging merchants on interchange to the tune of $1.2 billion
Mm,
over a period of 17 years by misclassifying transactions. And the
interesting.
FDIC wants Discover to return all the money that it erroneously took to the merchants,
Okay.
and the Fed has imposed a 150 million dollar civil money penalty.
Mm,
So it comes out to about $1.35 billion.
right. Huh. Wow. That's
And
crazy.
they stipulated that the refunds and fines must be completed before the acquisition is completed.
Well, I think in the grand scheme of things, what was the purchase to what was it the purchase price? Do you remember?
137.
Nah, it was way more than that. I was trying to remember what.
Those numbers just jump in my head. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it
But
was
it
a lot
was
more than that. But
yeah,
anyway, it was in the grand scheme of things, even the 1.4 billion is certainly not a small amount of money. I mean, relative to this acquisition, it's I don't think anybody's gonna have any trouble
yeah.
getting that taken care of.
I think what I'm thinking is like 37 billion, or
No, I think it's quite a bit more than that actually. Here,
take a
let's
look.
see.
Check it out.
All right, we're gonna look right now. Here, we're gonna get
Real time,
ChatGPT
folks.
involved in our thing today. So, oh, you were pretty close, Patty. 35.3 billion.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so
I
yeah,
thought
so
that
one,
the number 37 stuck in my head, but
I don't know why I was thinking it was closer to 100 billion. I thought it was like a 60 billion or something, but yeah, so 1.4 billion is again not a small thing, but again, they'll be able to work that out. In a deal like that size, I'm sure they'll be able to work that out and still make it happen.
and I'm sure
So,
in a deal of that size, I mean, if the FDIC was after them, they've been after them for a while, so they
right,
were aware of that.
right, sure.
Yeah.
Well, Patty, this has
So,
been great stuff as always. Thanks for all your research and keeping us up to speed on the industry.
sure thing, James. Thanks.